Well, good evening and welcome to another episode of Cam and Focus Weekly. I am Cam. With me, as he always is Mr. Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just got back today from a little brief vacation, which was a lot of fun.
I
Kind of
heard.
just resetting. So maybe I couldn't watch the new episode of Peacemaker, and I got spoiled on some things. So maybe that's my own fault for going on social media when I shouldn't have on vacation. I don't know who does that, but no, I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Glad I made it.
All right, and right down just below him is Mr. Spencer. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Glad to be here today to talk about the Thunderbolts.
Yes,
Nice.
glad to have you back. And then just below me is Michael. Been a little while since he's been on the show. Good to have you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I've been wanting to get back on the show for a minute. It just always feels like I never have time to actually watch what we're supposed to be watching. And then every week it's like, damn it, I forgot. So
okay. All right. Well, so next week we're going to start with episode 1 of Care Bears. I think it's only about 7 minutes long.
So
so
let's go.
If,
I've always wanted to go over
if
this.
we can't manage that.
Actually, I think I'm like going blind next week, so
I think I'm scheduled to have an aneurysm.
Yeah, like
as soon as the stream today is over, Andrew turns around, he puts like hot pokers in his eyes. Like, oh well, shit. I guess I can't.
He's like, well, I've already seen Thunderbolts at least once. I mean, I don't need these anymore.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. And on that note, yes, we are talking about Thunderbolts today. This was a very highly anticipated film for me, but up to its release. One, I love the Thunderbolts in the comics. I think it's just a great storyline. 2, it has a lot of characters in it that I really love. John Walker, Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes. And 3, they really pushed the marketing a lot for this movie. They really put a lot into advertising, how fun it was, but also the fact that a lot of people from Studio A24 worked on it. And it does have some of that, nifty A24 flair, which we'll definitely get into. But I'll kind of go around the clock here. I'll start with Mr. Andrew. What did you think of this movie first time you saw it?
So I kind of had mild expectations going into it because I was familiar with the characters, but the trailers, I saw the A24. I was like, all right, this will be cool, but I wonder how it's all going to work. How's this all going to come together? Because most of these characters we'd only ever seen like once before outside of like Bucky and Yelena, whatever. But I ended up loving it. For me, and I don't like when people do this, but it's my second favorite movie since Endgame, only behind Guardians 3. For similar reasons, they kind of go hand in hand for me as far as the grief and the emotion, the performances, and I mean, I just thought it was really great, and the themes, and it definitely had a A24 feel to it, which I really liked. And yeah, I know we'll get into it more, but really enjoyed it.
All right, Spencer, what did you think?
I was very pleasantly surprised, as we can get into it a bit later, but going into it, I wasn't really looking forward to it much just because of knowing what Thunderbolts originally was in the comics, and so it led me to have very low expectations, although it still was there opening night for it because, you have to be there for a Marvel movie unless you want to get spoiled. So, but I was happy to walk out kind of pleasantly surprised at being like, oh, wow, this is the best MCU movie since Guardians 3, in my opinion. And so I really liked it. And it's funny how it turned out to be my least anticipated of the 3 Marvel movies this year, and then turned out to be what I think is the best of the 3 Marvel movies this year.
So, nice. Nice. Very, very nice. All right, Mr. Michael, if you don't say that it was the best thing you've ever right now.
So it was a fantastic movie. I will say it was definitely my favorite movie of this era of Marvel.
Sure.
I would say it's tied for first. I know that since Spencer and I did the Fantastic Four review, his opinion of it has shifted slightly. So, I understand we all have opinions. But no, I will say I was not anticipating this as much as the rest of you were, because I just didn't know anything about Thunderbolts going into it. So there was really, I knew about the individual characters from their past the things that they'd done, but I mean, I wasn't really looking forward to it, and I watched it more of this is leading up to Doomsday, and so it's more like I'm doing homework. And then
Even
I watched
Fantastic Four too.
Huh?
I said it even leads into Fantastic Four, but it teases that.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing too. Was like I had to.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why. It's more Doomsday, but yeah.
Yeah, but
something. Yeah.
But I will say I watched it and I was very, very pleasantly surprised. This was the first Marvel movie I think that I have watched ever, like since 2008, Iron Man 1, very first, since the MCU was. This was the first Marvel movie to make me cry. Like to give me such a visceral, emotional stimulant to cause me to like move me to tears. That's never happened with a Marvel movie before. And
even Guardians 3?
Even Guardians 3. I'm a very insensitive person when it comes to movies because I know in the back of my mind it's not real.
Yeah.
I don't even like that raccoon.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Guardians 3, great movie, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
True.
But no, I was very pleasantly surprised, and even rewatching it last night, knowing what was coming, knowing the parts that were going that like made me cry, it still brought tears to my eyes. Seeing that, even though I knew, and I mean, we'll get into it more as we talk more about the movie, but like, it was just, it was a lot. It was very well done.
Yes, definitely. And this movie definitely has a lot going for it. The thing is, it centers around characters who don't have a whole lot of standing with the MCU just yet. So watching it, you're not really feeling like you have a whole lot to catch up on. I mean, if you've seen Black Widow, then you know who Yelena Belova is. You don't have to have seen Hawkeye. If you're even remotely familiar with the story of Falcon and Winter Soldier, then you know who John Walker is. But you could go into this movie completely blind and not know who these people are and still come away having gained something from watching it. I mean, there's references to things that had happened before, like John Walker killing the Flag Smasher and stuff like that. But they're less homework that you have to do and more extra credit. It's more like you're just rewarded just a little bit for having watched these things before. Thunderbolts as a whole is kind of it's a pretty well-contained movie. Now, when it first opens up, we start with Yelena Belova, and she gives us her monologue about how she feels unfulfilled and she feels bored with her job and stuff. And right away, we're treated to what to expect as far as physicality in this movie. The stunt work and the action is out freaking standing. Yeah, and eventually the first huge set piece is that hallway fight scene with Yelena Belova and those security guards, where it's all filmed from the top down. That's all done in one take. When's the last time we've had a Marvel film with an extended fight scene done in long shots besides like Shang-Chi?
You're right.
Yeah.
I also love how she seemed bored. Like she was so bored with fighting these guys. She was just like, kick. This is very run of the mill for her.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you think about it, with these Black Widow assassins, not that she works for the Red Room anymore, but if you think about it, all their missions are kind of the same: sneak in, kill people, sneak out,
occasionally blow some shit up,
Yeah.
That's cherry on top. If there are explosions involved, it's like, okay, I get a couple extra bucks on my paycheck.
Of course.
But. And then it leads into seeing her in the lab itself. Now, this is where we get our of the Marvel humor for this movie.
Yeah.
It's very quick. It's very snappy. and there are no pause for laughter moments. That's something that the MCU has done in droves with their last few movies and last few shows. It's appalling.
Yeah, especially with Thor, like anything to do with Thor. That's always been very prevalent in Thor movies.
Don't get me started. Yeah.
No, Spencer, where you started? You know,
Oh man, I don't like. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't know. But it seems like here's the paradoxical thing about it. You know, the MCU is so far along now that when it breaks from the recent norm, it feels like it's breaking new ground. But really, what it feels like is it feels like it's going back to its roots, which I really appreciate. It's taking a large scale characters and bringing the scope of the story down to a more intimate level, so that way we have more time with these characters to let them be characters. You know, it's not like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where it's like you hit the ground running and it's like, okay, well, Doctor Strange has to go here and do this and here and do this and here and do this and here and do this. That this feels like a character story rather than a world-ending, apocalyptic, universe-ending story that they've been trying to do with every movie since like Endgame.
Well, that's kind of one of the things that I liked most about this movie, is that it is very self-contained outside of a few references here and there.
Yeah.
And I love how well they do the drama. Like Florence Pugh gives one of the best performances I've seen in a Marvel project in a while. I mean, she blows it out of the water. But then you have the comedic side with like her dad and like even John Walker with their snappy one-liners. So you're kind of going through this roller coaster of emotions through it. And it's really good.
Well, that's the good thing about the humor, is that it feels true to the characters without ever feeling like it's detracting from the story or making this less serious or making the stakes seem less severe. With Alexei Shostakov, the Red Guardian, his humor comes from him being like that, almost like rookie dad. But there are enough moments in there to where he really plays it serious that it's a great balance for the character. And the first time we see that is whenever Yelena's talking to him in his house. And
that was, to me, that was one of my, he was so 100% serious in that scene, but it was one of the funniest lines of dialogue in the movie for me, was when Yelena's like, I thought you said you were fulfilled. And he's like, no, I'm not. Look at me. I'm like, look at this place. I'm miserable.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just one of the, he's just being so honest and so serious, but it's so, David Harbour just,
I love him. Such a But what really nailed that moment for me was whenever he started talking about, you want to know when I was happy? When I was fighting for my country. And he switches from that humorous undertone to something a lot more sincere, and it's a subtle shift, but it's just enough to make that scene continue to feel grounded without feeling like there's any kind of drastic tonal shift. And it's so well written. The writing in this movie really stands out, in my opinion. The exposition that's delivered feels like it falls within natural conversations that these characters would have.
Yeah, it's not a dump of just like a character pulling a character aside and then telling them everything, and
or someone starting off an info dump with, as you know. It's like, no, if they know, then why are you telling me?
Exactly. And we've seen that in some Marvel stuff.
Anytime a character starts a conversation with, as you know, I tune out. That is the most blatant segue into exposition land.
Well, Cam, as you know, with this movie, one of my favorite scenes. I guess we'll never know.
Got him.
I knew that was coming.
But no, like another great scene in this movie is between Red Guardian and Yelena right before the Void starts to attack, and they have that like a very emotional heart to heart. She's, Yelena's saying like, I lost my sister again, and you ran away, and I didn't hear from you for a year. And he's like, well, damn, and he kind of realizes that he messed up, and he's like, okay, well, I'm here now. I want to be in your life.
He said, I am here
now.
Oh my
Right.
God.
He's like,
God
damn
damn
it.
He committed suicide.
But it it didn't feel forced. It felt very natural. And
that scene really stands out to me, not just because of the context of the conversation that we're having, but again, Florence Pugh's performance is fantastic. But here's the thing: everybody remembers her line, "Daddy, I'm so alone." Yes. That conversation, yeah. But her best delivered line in that entire scene is when she says, "I don't remember that feeling." Like the voice up, speaking around a lump in her throat, like that is, like it legitimately sounds like she's trying to hold back tears, and it's great acting from Florence Pugh.
Absolutely. That level of voice control too is insane.
Yes. And outside of that, her performance in general just feels so natural. Like you really feel like she's a person rather than a character in a movie. The way she interacts with Bob and their back and forth, I mean, she really comes off as a world weary person with experience. And I mean, I think back to past performances that we got with the MCU, and we've had some great ones. RDJ, obviously, Chris Evans is fantastic, but I feel like Florence Pugh truly has embodied this character on a level that we don't really see much in the franchise as a whole.
She understood the assignment.
That's the short form way of Now, after she leaves Alexi's house, this is what leads us into our first major set piece, which is the vault. Now, from the moment that the scene shifts to the desert to the very end when Bucky blows up their car, like that entire sequence is incredible. I know that a lot of people have had issue with, basically 40 minutes of this 2-hour movie being devoted to the vault and the escape from it. And to an extent, I kind of understand that, but again, it falls back into how contained this movie feels and how small scope it feels it compared to these long characters. And having the story feel so small, I think actually works to the movie's benefit, given the situation that these characters are put into.
Well, and I agree on that because, I mean, as a Marvel fan, it does sometimes get a little tiring having every story be big scale, big plot line or whatever. So having a self-contained story where, you spend 40 minutes doing something that could normally take 10, 15 minutes in a movie. It honestly doesn't even feel like 40 minutes. When you just said 40 minutes now, I was like, it's 40 minutes. Like I thought it was like 20 minutes. And I think a lot of that has to do with the chemistry with all the actors in this movie works so well to the point where that scene where they're going up the elevator shaft, right? And at first they all think it's a good idea. They get about quarter of the way up and they're like, well, crap, there's no going back now. But then they keep, and then they get to the very top and they're like, what do we do now? And they're all like, oh, we didn't think this far. And Bob's like, I didn't think we'd get this far. And the whole sneeze. And then they all start saying, cucumber. Like, it's just, and then Walker's like, and he's like, let me get up there and I'll pull y'all all up. And they're like, no, we'll fall. And then he does, he gets them up there and he gets them all up and they're all mad at him. And he's like, you're alive, aren't you? Like, I don't know, just stuff like that. Just so good.
I will say the few things that for me, I found that were like kind of off for me. And these were more just like logistical like logic things.
And
that didn't really come on. Detract from the movie as a whole, but it was just little moments where I went, wait a minute. Number one, I would say my number one thing was the way that they killed off Taskmaster. I'm sorry, I didn't care for that. Like,
I loved it. I loved it.
Somewhere that
I don't know enough about her to be like,
Well, first of all, in the comics, she is a he.
Oh, see, I didn't
but
even know
also,
that.
which that doesn't, like, in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter. I did read somewhere that they're planning on soft rebooting the character of Taskmaster or something. So maybe that was why they did it. But Taskmaster, the only
They're like,
person
"Yeah, we're
Taskmaster
doing-
cannot replicate is Deadpool, because Deadpool just is so fucking erratic that, but for her to just, kind of go in front of the gun like that and get shot in the face, it was just kind of like, really? But
See,
I get it. They had to kill her off somehow,
I loved it because I absolutely hated that villain. Like, that's one of my least favorite MCU villains ever of all time. Such a disgrace to, in my opinion, to have the name of Taskmaster on there. So for them to just quickly dispose of somebody that you can call Taskmaster, I'm not calling that. Personally,
that's how I felt with Mandarin in the Iron. What was it? Iron
yeah,
Man
but
3?
they did the thing to fix it, and I think to Black
Right, and I
Widow's
think they're
credit,
gonna. I think they're planning on fixing this as well.
to
I think that's why they killed her off.
Not to
Spencer was the
divert
only one
too
that
much.
cheered in his theater, and everyone looked at him like,
What the hell's wrong with you? No, to Black Widow's credit, though, I do think they set up Taskmaster in a way where there is a legit Taskmaster somewhere in the universe, and that the one that we're being told is Taskmaster isn't really that. So we'll see what happens.
well, she was the one character in this movie where I remember her being in Black Widow, but I remembered absolutely nothing about the character.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was like, okay.
Yeah, it almost felt like the whole reason they had her in this movie was to just kill her off so that they would have a reason to reboot the character. The logistical things that I found that were like kind of like what the fuck were when they finally get out of the vault, when almost said Homelander, when Walker Yelena and Bob finally get out of the bunker or whatever, out of the vault, and Ghost pulls up in the truck. It was just one of those. I'm like, they're disguised, and she's known them for all of 5 minutes. How does she know that that's them?
She's taking a chance.
I guess
an educated guess that.
Yeah,
like,
it was just yeah. And
Maybe.
then the other thing was, how did Bucky know where they were?
Yes, because Mel called him while he was in the kitchen reading the packet. And before she hung up, she said, "You can track my phone, right?" And he said, "Yes, but I don't do that."
Okay.
You're
right.
Desert.
That's a great scene where they're all sneaking out in the desert and they hear a car coming and it's the limo and he's going and like how does
no,
don't stop, Yeah.
Yelena, I love how Yelena treats Alexei in this. Like, she's just an embarrassed teenager. Like, who's just, Dad, stop it! You're embarrassing me.
Right. When he's doing the defense for the car and he says it's bulletproof, and then John Walker says, "I thought you said it was bulletproof-ish." And then he's trying to do the defense, and it's like, and Yelena's like, "Who are you driving?"
Go drink from the big goat back there.
Yeah. That, and then I love the moment, like, it's just such a serious, like, Bucky pulls up on the motorcycle, he wrecks all these military trucks, and everybody's cheering. John Walker's like, "Yeah, it's Bucky!" And then Bucky shoots the limo, and he's just like, shit, and it just blows up.
I love Bucky's theme in this movie.
Yes,
I think it's great.
Yeah,
but it's that scene is so good,
and that was the most heavily marketed scene in trailers. And I do like that they switched it up quite a bit, from trailer to final cut. Like in the trailer, when Bucky comes up on the motorcycle, John Walker's just like, "Is that Bucky?" But in the final cut, he's actually happy to see him. He's like, "It's Bucky!"
And that makes way more sense. I didn't even remember that in the trailer. I'm glad they made that change.
In the trailer, Alexei says, "Oh, the Winter Soldier. That guy is so cool." But in the final cut, he just says, "It's the Winter Soldier." Like that. Like there's reverence in his voice. There's awe in his voice. Like the Winter Soldier to Alexei must be like a god. Because
even like
a Soviet assassin. So I mean,
even later in the movie, he's comparing their super soldier serum. He's like, which one did you get? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, regular Hydra. Oh, Hydra, fancy.
Yeah, very nice.
Soviet recreation.
Yeah, he's like, we're basically the same. He's like, you get tired driving, I drive. You know?
He's like, I don't really get tired. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't really want to drive. Like,
And then Bucky tells everyone to like shut up in the back, and then Alexi goes, "Shut up," or something like that.
Yeah. Now, while they're in the vault, well, we're treated to our first fight scene between most of the Thunderbolts, and I got to bring
this.
The choreography and the filming and the shot composition, the way it's edited, long takes, visible stunt work. I'm like, you can see Florence Pugh doing the work. I mean, it's fantastic. You know, the MCU has been so preoccupied with hiring, you know, these big name A-list actors who don't do stunt work. Like, okay, here's a good example. So Robert Downey Jr., I love him as Iron Man. I think he's fantastic. He's iconic to the MCU. He is their biggest star. In Civil War, whenever Bucky is breaking out of the compound after Zemo came in and activated him again, he has that little skirmish with Iron Man. Any shot that doesn't have Iron Man basically standing still is a stunt double. After Bucky punches him in the chest and he flies back through the tables, the only shot of RDJ is him doing this on the ground, just this. And the way it's edited and the way it's put together, you can tell it's so choppy. But then you come to a movie like this where the stunt work is on screen, done by actors, and it makes a world of difference.
Well, I feel bad because I'm blanking on the director's name at the moment, but
Jake.
That's right. So one thing I noticed with this movie, for the most part, if I didn't notice it, then you're wrong in noticing it. But it really looked like he and the writers and everyone had creative control.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's why we get a lot of this long shots and not because a lot of Marvel projects have quick cuts. You never see the actor's face kind of stuff. And
switched but that's just because they hired known martial artists to do the work.
Yeah.
I think I remember in the credits, I think the only stunt double that Bucky had, that Sebastian Stan had, was for the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Which is understandable because that's a seriously dangerous stunt to do. And, you know.
And a Mad Max Fury Road kind of scene, you know?
Yeah.
Did you say Furry Road?
Fury Road?
Fury Road.
Spot the furry.
I actually there was a fan thing of that. Yeah, it's a cut. I'll send you the cut, Cam. Send you the video.
Next week on Cam in Focus.
I own the black and white version of that movie. It's so cool.
Oh,
of Furry Road?
Yes.
Have you in the black and white?
Huh?
What?
Have you watched Logan in the black and white version?
No, I've wanted to. I've never found the version.
Holy crap! If a noir version of a movie ever make it better, it was Logan. What a fantastic way to watch it.
Are there people in costumes, like, you know, full body furry costumes? Because if there aren't, I can't watch. I mean, you know.
I don't know. I think Wolverine's pretty fucking furry.
That's right. Yeah, next week. Hey, you know what? Next week's our bad movie. We'll find a movie that's probably like Scott Furry's in it. I'm sure on Tubi there's a movie with that.
Oh God.
From like 10 years ago.
Just type in the word furry and see what pops up. And she's like, oh, that's the one.
All right, hold on. I'm on that. Ball Yeller.
Oh God.
Philosophy. What the heck?
Don't give me hope, Andrew.
I was gonna say, is that really on there?
Oh, actually, let me check.
Oh man, got my hopes up. I was like, there it is.
Whoa! There's a movie called Furry Nights, and the tagline is "They're coming fur you."
God.
Anyway, Thunderbolts.
Fast and Furious.
I gotta share this movie
I
in
love
the
the
chat.
I love the argument between I mean it's just I guess it wasn't really an argument, but like between Yelena and Alexi where they were like arguing over who actually sponsored the Pee Wee soccer team.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, "What are you talking about? It was Jake's tire shop." And he's like, "What? He didn't have the money for that.
He has no money.
He doesn't have money."
Yeah, and that's another credit to the movie. You know, the characters are given time to really be characters, and there isn't really a whole lot of back and forth where they're discussing the plot, talking about what to do and who they're after and why they're there. It's just the exposition is conveyed through natural character interaction, and I really praise him for that.
Hey, Samuel.
Hello, Samuel.
What's up?
Yeah, but I just like this is one of those movies. So I don't like comparing movies to box office numbers because that does not equal quality.
No.
But one thing, a point that I'm going, as you know, the point I'm leading with this is the problem that the thing that when the MCU was in its prime, this wasn't an issue, but when a project led into another, you know, the post-credit scene would tease the next project. So you're like, all right, that hasn't happened for a long time. With the general audience, a lot of times, you know, they'll see a project and they'll go, oh, that was bad. So when the next project's coming out, they go, well, I'm not going to watch that because the last Marvel project, you know, it's like Brave New World. Not a good movie, in my opinion, at all. You know, it had its moments, but it was very And a lot of people thought that way too. And outside of one line, there's absolutely no connection between this and Brave New World outside of one line. But a lot of people, even though this movie got really good word of mouth, a lot of people were like, no, the last project was bad. You know, but then the good side of that is when Fantastic Four was coming out, a lot of people that did watch this through word of mouth was like, "Ooh, Thunderbolts was really good." So it's always tough for a project like this, like original, and not just with Marvel, but with original projects in general. People, you know, and I want more too, but people are like more original stuff, less IP, to the point where when a movie comes out that's mostly original or isn't connected to an IP, they don't go and see it. And so then it bombs at the box office and studios go, well, we took this risk. It wasn't worth it. We're not going to do it again.
Right.
And it's just this continuous hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You know,
argument of, you know, they don't make movies like they used to. It's like, no, they do. You just don't go out and watch them.
Right.
You're busy foaming at the mouth for the next Zack Snyder movie or something. And it's, I don't know. There's a balance that cinema has to catch, but it just can't find it because IP films dominate the box office, and that's how it's been for the last almost 20 years now.
Yeah,
100%. And I think the big problem with Marvel specifically, to Andrew's point too, is you have to look at the quality of movies overall too. Of just what's been happening since Endgame, where you've had some bangers, you know. Where you've had arguably at least one banger a year. You know, you had Shang-Chi, I don't remember what was great the year after, but then Guardians 3, Deadpool, Wolverine, and you're having Thunderbolts, you know. But then that's only one movie of what's usually a few movies per year, last year being the exception. And so, you know, you're filled with all the stuff that people don't care for, the shows that they didn't develop well as shows either. That's one of the big problems at this. Whoa, location change.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he teleported.
But what I was saying was, you know, there's I think like pretty much all the projects that all these characters came from were like mid at best, if I remember right.
And mostly Disney Plus, and not a lot of the general audience maybe watches on Disney Plus.
But then also point though they're being like the shows that they came from, I don't think any of them were great shows either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, out of the shows that they've come from, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'd say was probably the best one, but that's. I mean, even then, Falcon and Winter Soldier was tough because there were so many writing problems, and
they had a bunch of problems.
So badly, they wanted you so badly to hate John Walker.
Yeah.
Well, while at the time it was Sam and Bucky who were being dickheads to him, and it just
Well, and an example is Ava Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Pretty bad movie. And to be honest, when I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp the first time, and even on rewatches, I never could get into her character. I never could find her character all that interesting.
Yeah.
However, after watching Thunderbolts, I'm like, we got to see her again. I thought she was really good. She wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily the star of the Thunderbolts, or one of, that was really Yelena and now Bob, or John, and then Bob as an honorary kind of thing. But I found her character a lot more interesting, and I think this is what this movie did so well. And but I think, like, Yelena, I think gave the best performance, and it's definitely was the best. But I think after this movie, I think John Walker's my favorite of the team.
Mhm.
Just his balance of the grief that he's dealing with and everything, and well, all of them really, and their regret, because the difference between, like, comparing them to, like, the Suicide Squad, for the most part, most of the people in the Suicide Squad, outside of a couple characters, they don't mind that they were bad. They're fine with that. Every single person in this movie has some form of regret, and I really liked that they touched on that. And so, yeah.
One thing I wish we could have seen in this movie, that I understand why they couldn't, like, include this, is because it would have made the movie way longer. I would have loved to have seen the rooms that the rest of the team had to go through in the
Disney Plus show right there.
Right? like Bucky's especially would be interesting to see, I think. Especially with that line he gives, my life's been great, so really, it's like, I've had a great life. I had nothing to.
Liar! Liar!
Right?
You turned him against me.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, there are some missed opportunities that this film could have taken advantage of, definitely. That being probably one of the biggest ones that I can think of. But it doesn't take away from what we got, thankfully. And and that there's enough drama layered on top of everything else to give the movie a whole lot of weight without making it seem overly melodramatic. Well, one of my absolute favorite, I guess, drama moments is the first time that John Walker experiences the void, and him ignoring his son. And whenever he snaps out of it, the first thing he does is turn back and consider jumping back in the hole.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a blink and you miss it moment, but it carries so many, like, implications.
Carries a lot of weight.
Like, that is heavy.
Yeah.
Well,
one thing I wanted to touch on before I forgot, because I saw your post about this the other day, Cam, when the Thunderbolts are fighting Sentry. Yeah, I know you're a celebrity. One's a
Unbelievable, man. I like to thank the Academy first of all. I didn't think it was far.
But it's a scene where the Thunderbolts are fighting Sentry, because I have a couple thoughts on this that I thought from my first viewing. Because you had mentioned how when Bucky, takes off his jacket and people are like, okay, that's a little like, I'm gonna get him kind of moments. I always took that whole fight scene as almost like they're not, like, they're trying, but they're not fully trying, because they still they know Bob's inside, and they care for Bob, but they know that they have to sort of contain Sentry. And so that's how I always took what the fight scene was. Like, they're trying to contain Sentry, but they're not trying to, like, kill him, because they want to get Bob out. So I don't have a problem with that fight scene at all. Because even Bob, you can tell when Bob's fighting with the Sentry, because when Dave Valentina, whatever her name is like trying to tell him what to do, and he's kind of like, well, why? Like, why do I need to fight them? They're not causing me any harm. And he realizes that she's controlling him and what he's turned into. So anyway,
I feel like another thing that because it now that you say that, it's made something else. It wasn't really something I had a problem with. I just kind of went, that was weird. Is during that fight scene when he throws Red Guardian out the window and then pulls him back in. It's like, he could have Mace Windu'd him. Like, he could have just thrown him out the window, and he could have
threw Mace Windu out the window.
Yeah, but
that's a good point.
But he didn't. He pulls him back in, even though he had nothing to do with anything that happened in the vault. This is his first time meeting Red Guardian, but I think it's like he intrinsically knows that that's somebody important to the rest of the team, and so like he's like, I'm gonna do what I can to stop you, but I'm not gonna kill you.
Yeah.
And that was something that I didn't really pick up on watching it, but now that you've said that, it's made that look a little different.
Bob is very, mentally messed up.
I was on meth.
But he is still, he is still a good person. Well, here's the thing. This is what really cements it for me. This is a moment that I wouldn't say gets overlooked, but the wrong context is taken from it. Whenever whenever the group are trying to escape the vault and Bob hops out of the truck and distracts the soldiers, like Bob didn't know he was invincible. In his mind, he's literally sacrificing himself so they can escape.
Right. Well, and I think he I mean, it's very obvious from the start that Bob is depressed. So it's very, I looked at that as well. He's just like, well, this is the one good thing I can do with my life is allow my new friends to escape and I'll get to die. Like,
yeah.
But and again, that is heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so much heavier than 80% of the Marvel we've gotten in the last 6 years.
Kudos for them to touch on a subject like that and tell a really good story with it. And it's important that they did it with Sentry and to begin with, just because like that's such a crucial character. For me, with being a comic fan, what's important for me is not necessarily if they adapt every single right thing about the character, but the fact of if the essence of is right about the character there. So they don't change what the character's about. And so for me, the biggest thing I was looking forward to is seeing how Sentry was. And Sentry stands for those exact same things in the comics and everything. And it is such a great job adapting Sentry in this movie, which I was really happy about. And the Void and a different take on the Void in this movie. But it very much still served the purpose of very much what the Void is in the comics.
I kind of zoned out for a second. So when you were saying that Sentry stands for, I thought you were going to say like an acronym, like it stands for something.
Yeah, I kind of thought that's where it was going.
Because you kind of paused. You're like, Sentry stands for all this. But I was like, oh, Sentry's an acronym.
Yeah, it's and
seriously evil new type of. I don't know.
Well, the whole thing about Sentry is like, what if it's Superman, but he has mental health problems?
Right.
I mean, isn't that Homelander?
No, not quite.
Well,
Homelander's just an ass.
I even saw some discourse online after the movie came out of like, well, Sentry's too powerful now, like all this stuff. And
watch the
yes and no.
scene.
If he's got Bob, because Bob is still very much alive in him, he's not
right
OP. If Sentry completely takes over Bob, yeah, that's bad. But in the end, Bob was still,
Bob.
who won. So Bob, yeah. I mean, and what's funny is Lewis Pullman plays a character named Bob in Top Gun Maverick. So from now on, every character he plays needs to be named Bob, and it's the BCU.
Well, and there was I actually read online somewhere that he asked if they could change his name from Bob because he didn't want that to happen. And they were like, no. They're like, no. But
that's funny.
But yeah, that was one thing, especially rewatching it last night. You said about people complaining about, oh, he's too OP now. If you watch the post-credit scenes, he literally says, sorry, can't have the Sentry without the Void. And so it's very much it's almost like Bruce Banner in Infinity War. Not quite, because his was more like, I don't understand why I can't turn into the Hulk right now. His is more, I'm choosing not to tap into that power because I'm afraid that I will lose myself to it. And so it's very much, he's going to be very resistant to tapping into that power going into Doomsday, I think. Maybe if he's still around for Secret Wars, maybe. I hope they keep him around for a few movies. Because I really think they will. I think he did an excellent job. But yeah, it's very much they made him super powerful because even without the Void, even as Sentry, he is a god. You know, it's like he said, you know, you said I was stronger than the whole team of Avengers, which includes at least one god. So,
yeah,
you know, so it's very much he is just absolutely overpowered. Which, I mean, he is in the comics as well, but the comics also has their own ways of dealing with his overpoweredness.
Well,
But it was very nice to see them not shy away from him being OP, but instead came up with a solution for him being OP, but why he can't use that power all the time, or have an out for it, basically. Because, of course, if you make somebody all powerful,
like Kira, not Kira. What's her name in Secret Invasion? Emilia Clarke's character, because she
I never watched Secret Invasion. So many people said so much
about
crap about it that I just
no,
like,
but
I'm
like
not gonna
she's an
waste my
example
time with it.
though. She's an example though of at the end of the show, she literally gets the power of every single Marvel character like ever seen on screen or something like that, and she hasn't even been referenced, which I'm fine with in another project. But it's like you're gonna give a character all that power. You're gonna make us watch this crappy show. Do that with a character, and
it's like they made her super scroll. It was just like,
yeah,
super duper scroll. There we go.
Yeah.
But that was something else because I mentioned earlier, I've been reading the Jonathan Hickman comics lately, trying to prepare myself for Secret Wars and all that, Doomsday and Secret Wars. So something I did not know about the Thunderbolts in the comics, anyway, was that they were headed by Norman Osborn.
Well, it would one of the eras, yeah.
Well, one of the eras,
but yeah, go on.
In that run, and I've looking back at the MCU as a whole, I'm seeing a lot of where a lot of the influence from Jonathan Hickman's comic books were put into the MCU. And I'm not saying that Jonathan Hickman's comic books are necessarily unique. Like, I'm not saying that all of his ideas in those comic books haven't been done before by somebody else, by a different writer. I'm not sure. But, like, for example, the whole Hydra control shield from the shadows thing was in Secret War. That was the whole premise of Secret Warriors, his Secret Warriors run. And so, like, and that was also the first time I saw Valentina. So it all kind of, I'm like seeing all this, and then I rewatched Thunderbolts, and I'm like, Valentina, I've read that name recently, and I like went back and I went, oh my God. And I started connecting dots, and it's just very interesting to see how much of Jonathan Hickman's run of, you know, from Secret Warriors up to where I'm at now, which is in like the Shield / Fantastic Four era that he did. It's very interesting to see all those dots connect.
Yeah.
And it made me wonder if they were trying, I swear this rant had a point. It made me wonder if they were trying to make Valentina almost like a Norman Osborn type of character, but but I'm not sure. I don't know the extent of her character in the past, in the comics in the past. So for all I know, she may have been the leader of the Thunderbolts in another comic run that I'm just not aware of.
You know, you make a good point with that, because one thing that Marvel can't do for the MCU is use characters that have been used in Sony movies already. So a lot of people are like, oh, who are they going to cast as Norman Osborn? They can't use him because he was used in the Sony Spider. So they could use her as like their version.
Right.
I'm not familiar with the comics, but you know.
Well, you also have a run of Thunderbolts comics where they were started by Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. You know,
right. Well, and that made sense to me. That's why I was confused going into it.
And it's gone through each of leaders. I mean, Zemo led them for a while.
That's the original one. That's what I was going to highlight at some point. Was that
nice?
Thunderbolts. This is the original Thunderbolts. Actually, this is the first printing of their first arc here. Where this is kind of like one of the big things of where I actually personally have a problem with Thunderbolts overall, is we're talking about all these different iterations of Thunderbolts. And that's like my big problem with Thunderbolts, is that I feel like Thunderbolts has had an identity crisis, like in the comics, as the initial idea of Thunderbolts was done once, and you can't do it again because is that unique of an idea. Just to kind of give you a quick idea of like what it was for anybody who may not know, is that it came in a time where the Marvel Universe was at one of its weakest ever points. A massive event called Onslaught happened, which essentially wiped out the X-Men and Avengers. So the world was trying to figure out, well, they needed more heroes. So the idea is that, as you mentioned, there's Zemo with these other villains. They masked themselves up as heroes, and they were playing the role of heroes in secret, playing the long game to achieve their overall evil plan. And so for me, that's always been what Thunderbolts is. This is my first, actually, kind of by accident, I guess, my first ever time ever reading anything about Thunderbolts was this Thunderbolts comic. And that's like the whole thing of like, well, that's just always what Thunderbolts is to me. And then, once you kind of do that idea once, you really can't do an idea like that again, I feel like. And so, after that, they always just turn into like Suicide Squad, essentially, or a version of Suicide Squad that, in my opinion, it never really like works as well. And so,
see, that was almost my concern going into the movie, because that's what I thought. I was like, oh, this is Marvel Suicide Squad. But yeah, it was nice.
No, that's 100%. Like when I said at the beginning, I had like low expectations for the movie. That's why it's like, well, this isn't the Thunderbolts to me. At the end of the day, the Thunderbolts will always be what was in that comic that it should. And so, but I mean, they still did a good job with what they did with all the characters. And they, for one thing that they did, I think was really important, as we talked about all these different iterations, they didn't necessarily like take heavy inspiration from one iteration. They just mix matched a bunch of different works into one. And it worked at the end of the day, I think. And that's what's important is they took all these character inspirations from a bunch of different of the other shows, movies, and even the comics too. And they made one, I think, special, unique project. And that's what helps us, I think, movies stand out, and why it worked, is that they figured out how to mix all these different elements together.
Well, initially at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, whenever Valentina had brought on John Walker as U.S. agent, at the time I was convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was them setting up the Dark Avengers.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit, this could be awesome. And then not that I was particularly heartbroken over it, but I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a change of direction.
Yeah.
But I mean, because I was under the impression that with Thunderbolts, they had been setting up Thaddeus Ross throughout Infinity War, Endgame, Hulk, and then Brave New World too. They were setting him up to be this very not necessarily a villain, but a very antagonistic figure.
Right.
Only to have him get locked up at the end.
I was expecting there to be more of a link with him and Thunderbolts and Cap 4 and stuff. Like, I was under the impression too that like you had to have Cap 4 and Thunderbolts kind of be together, that they were going to be more linked up and stuff.
Yeah, the only real reference was when Valentina said in the session or whatever that our last president turned into a giant red monster that destroyed half the city. Other than that, nothing was really said about the rest of the like.
Well, and an issue I had with Brave New World, I know, just with the connection with this, is you could see the reshoots and the rewrites, and the thing is there is some good stuff in there, and every time it was starting to go somewhere, I was like, okay, this is going somewhere, and then it would move to something else completely different. I'm like, am I even watching the same movie anymore? And which is disappointing, because going into it, I actually was like, okay, this looks cool. We're going to get some... But it felt more like a sequel to The Incredible Hulk than it did as a Captain America movie, which isn't...
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was kind of one of my issues with it.
Now,
See, that's one of the reasons why I kind of liked parts of it, but at the end of the day,
No, I did like those
problem.
parts. The problem was it was almost like the movie couldn't decide what it wanted to be. It was
Right.
it's like sometimes it would be a Captain America movie, and then it was an Incredible Hulk sequel.
It was a whole
like
story with Captain America as the main character, is what it
right.
really
It was
was.
like Captain America was like Boba Fett. He's cameoing in his own
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I
Now-
mean, and you could also almost look at it as like a continuation of Eternals as well, because of the whole. I mean, that was the whole third act of the movie. Pretty much was fighting over the adamantium.
Yeah.
Which that was the one thing I took away from this movie was they're setting up adamantium,
Right.
which means like what are their? Because in my mind, I always thought that the like bringing the X-Men in and everything was going to come from another universe. Which with Doomsday coming up, that's pretty much what it looks like it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they doing with adamantium? Like, what is the only thing I know off the top of the dome that has anything to do with adamantium, famously anyway, is Wolverine. You know, like, okay, so are we going to have like a 616 Wolverine somewhere in the future? But
okay, so there's
that's where I get confused.
But besides Wolverine, there have been a lot of other people that have had Wolverine adamantium put into them.
But they're all mutants.
Such as X-24, Lady Deathstrike. There's a version of the Hulk that has adamantium. So there's directions they can go with it. It's just with them having brought in Wolverine into the MCU already, I feel like it cheapens the discovery of adamantium because it's like okay, well, you've discovered this big new rare metal, and we're excited, and we should be excited about where you're going to go with that. But the person it's going to go to is already over here.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help either that we all know Secret Wars is like coming 2 years.
Yeah,
and it's going to be at the very least a soft reboot, and then after that, they're doing their own version of X-Men, directed by the person who brought us this wonderful movie.
Yeah.
And so, and in that alone, I do feel like it's kind of like, well, okay, if you're reforging the universe with Secret Wars, which if they can get the MCU back on track at all overall, that's kind of the only way that I feel like they have to. But even then,
Well,
they have to figure out something there.
My biggest concern with Doomsday is, well, I have two. One, I feel like it's going to be really crowded, and we saw that with the chairs. And there's still people that have been announced that didn't have chairs. And then two, back in one of Disney's events, like back in 2022, I believe it was announced that King Dynasty would be coming out this year, and then Secret Wars would be coming out around the same time. And then obviously all the stuff happened with Kang, and they're like, all right, we're doing Doomsday. And don't get me wrong, I will trust Marvel with the Avengers movies until they prove me otherwise. But my biggest concern is it going to be something where it's just like, oh, well, we got to scrap that plan, and we're just going to throw everything together and be like, ooh, be a movie where it's like, ooh, look, it's them, or ooh, it's them, or just, is it going to be just a nostalgia fest over story instead of story? You know,
the movie is going to be a pause for applause moment.
Well, that's the big problem is the only movies that set it up. You know, think about how many movies set up the Infinity Saga once they started going for it. You know, especially in Phase 3, you had a whole phase dedicated just to setting it up, really, and then them taking some aspects that they didn't plan for, but perfectly worked. You know, that's the thing, though. Part of the reason what really made the Infinity Saga work was a bunch of happy coincidences. You know, what's funny after their first Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out, Feige realized, well, shit, James Gunn created all this lore for the Infinity Stones that they didn't have to figure out how to link up into all these other things to make it all work. And James Gunn was there like, yeah, I just created all that lore for like 5 minutes. In 5 minutes.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like,
and so,
wow.
Which is hilarious because, you know, we got a whole saga around it, blah, blah, blah. Phase 3 was like a whole made setup for it. And then we only have 2 movies to set up Doomsday.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm almost wondering, so many people that talk about, you know, Doomsday and everything that's coming up, they all talk about Doctor Doom as everybody's going to know that Doctor Doom is a villain, and or like it's going to be shown at some point that he's a villain, but maybe like because he has Iron Man's or Tony Stark's face, it tricks some people. I genuinely, after like, because I've read the Secret Wars comic, the Jonathan Hickman one anyway, and I almost wonder if it's gonna be that at all. Like, I feel like Doom will absolutely be the villain of Secret Wars, but I wonder if they're gonna set it up almost like Mysterio in Far From Home, how he was like, we all know as an audience that Mysterio is evil or is a villain, but in the moment he portrayed himself as a savior from another world.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if Doomsday isn't going to be something similar to that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can certainly speculate until the cows come home, but the sad fact of the matter is,
actually, there are cows walking right by my window right now.
It
No,
could go in literally any direction.
Right.
This version of Doom could literally be Tony Stark from another universe who just adopted
Which
the
is there.
I really hope they don't do that.
Well, with them having cast RDJ as Doctor Doom, they did that for a reason.
Yeah.
They said that.
yeah.
They were like, it has to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're doing that after Fantastic Four, although we'll certainly see how everything plays, because I still don't understand the casting of it there, so we'll see.
And of course, I like all of us. I hope it's good. Like I'm not going into it going, oh, well, what do you have for me, kind of thing. But like, I am concerned about it. Not so much Secret Wars, because they announced that with Kang. I'm pretty sure it was Secret Wars they announced with Kang. So I'm not so worried about that one. But also, too, Spencer, you made the point that the build up to it, because they were leading with like Loki and the Quantum Mania, the whole Kang stuff. Right. Of course, like I said earlier, all that stuff that happened. So then it was like a course. Now this course correct could pay off, and we could all be saying, well, after next year, that oh my god, Marvel's brilliant, or we could be saying, what the heck happened,
Right.
But so yeah,
Well, he's been a nice little mix of that over the last few years. It's like
very true.
It's those memes that you keep seeing about all the different Marvel projects over the last few years are stacked up. It's like Marvel is so back. Marvel is,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we're so back. Oh no, we're still dead.
Well, I'm still at the level with Marvel where anything that they put out in the MCU, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna at least give it a try.
Yeah.
Right.
I gotta tell you, there have been a couple of projects where even I'm like, I kind of have to force myself to watch it because I go.
Listen, if I'm there opening weekend to watch Craven, I'm there for any Marvel movie. Okay.
Exactly. Hey, I'll tell you one better, Madam Web. You know what they did? They've released that. Not that this affects me in any way, but they released it on Valentine's Day weekend. You know how many people? You know how many guys were like, "Honey, you got to come see this new Marvel movie." Yeah. It.
Marvel fans were born that day.
I had to beg my friend to. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
I begged my friend to go watch Madam Web with me, and he hated it so much he didn't even watch Craven at all. So understandably,
Madam Web and Mobius are the only two like Sony
Mobius is from Loki.
What did I say? Mobius? I thought I said Morbius.
You said Mobius. It sounded like you said Mobius. I could be wrong.
Anyway, Morbius.
Who cares? I already forgot.
Yeah.
See, that was more entertaining than the entire movie.
Madam Web and Morbius are the only two of the Sonyverse movies I've not seen. So I have no opinion. You're not missing opinion of either of them.
Honestly,
Craven, I actually really enjoyed.
Okay, we have problems there.
Sir,
I actually
Craven take the shot.
You're allowed to not like a movie, Spencer, and I'm allowed to like it.
Can I have
moving on?
I think you should take back your Marvel card and I actually okay. Now here's the part where I turn in my Marvel card is when I say I don't think Morbius was that bad of a movie. I would gladly watch that over Madam Web.
Is it Morbid time?
Actually, I really don't think it's that bad of a movie. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I am of the mindset that they've put out more. I can't stand the post-in game comparison. I mean, I get it. It has some validity, but I think they've put out more good stuff than bad, but they definitely put out more bad stuff than they did during the Infinity Saga. Because I was talking with someone the other day, they were asking me about Marvel and stuff, and I said, during the Infinity Saga, you would have about, let's say, on average, 4 to 5 projects all really good to great, and maybe one in there that was like, okay, that was fine.
Right, Captain Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then with with the multiverse saga, it's, for every 4 to 5 projects that are released, 4 are like, all right, that was fine, and then one is like, oh, this is awesome. I feel like I feel like between last year with some of their shows and this year, they're slowly getting back to the, okay, this was decent, this was pretty good, to a Thunderbolts or a Shang-Chi, which sequel, please, Feige, stuff like that. And, so anyway.
Now the last thing about this movie that I do want to touch base on, and I want you guys' opinion of, is so between this movie and Brave New World, it's been kind of the butt of a joke to have Marvel be like, oh, well, Marvel's all about therapy sessions now, because the end of Captain America: Brave New World was him talking down Thaddeus Ross, and the end of Thunderbolts is them basically talking down Sentry.
Yeah.
Group hugged him back into
back to reality.
Back to reality, yeah.
Here is where I feel these two movies differ in a major way, and probably the most important way, is in Thunderbolts, everybody present during the climax has some kind of personal relationship or connection with Bob, except for maybe Alexei, but he's Alexei, who cares?
I care, damn it.
Yeah. Everybody there knew Bob as a person and wanted him to be better and wanted good things for him. Whereas Thaddeus Ross in Brave New World, he was nothing but antagonistic.
Yeah.
He and Sam Wilson never got along. They always butted heads.
Right.
They always at each other's throats, always at odds with each other. So why would Thaddeus Ross listen to Sam Wilson?
Yeah.
But basically,
because Captain America.
His to Thaddeus Ross amounted to, you can still stop this. Oh, okay. I guess I'm good now. Come on.
Well,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Sam Wilson is a veteran therapist. I mean, this guy, made a living out of talking to veterans and helping them deal with PTSD and helping to keep them grounded in reality. But between Brave New World and Falcon and Winter Soldier, every single moment where that could have counted, it was not there.
Well, and kind of repeating what you're saying here, Kim, as you may already know, the thing too is with Brave New World though, there's no genuine buildup of, like you said, with the connection between them. So when there is that line delivery, it's very underwhelming. It's kind of like, okay. But with Thunderbolts, there's all this genuine relationship buildup. All these characters have, like you said, have a moment with Bob at some point in the movie. So it makes sense at the end that they all are there and they're all trying to stop Bob. And Brave New World is kind of like, but all right,
Thaddeus Ross, you don't have to do this.
It's very much like this. Sam was like this. Sam was like, stop, don't do it, come back. Oh no, get back here. Oh, you got away. Yeah.
It's like Neil Breen in Fateful Findings whenever the girl's at the pool. You can't do this.
Neil Breen, he always finds his way into the conversation, but it's true. But that's one thing that Neil does so well, is the way that he can build up this genuine connection between characters. And he even says himself later in the movie, he says, she is not allowed back here unless she calls first. All right. That has to be one of the most uncomfortable scenes I've ever watched in a movie. Because the girl's not even giving an acting performance. She's literally looking at the camera saying help. Like with her look, she's like, get me out of this. This guy paid me $40, said I would be in the movie, and this,
So to bring it back to Thunderbolts, there was one moment in this movie that really hit me hard. And it was one of those things where I didn't realize why it hit me hard all at once. It kind of came in pieces. It was the scene. It's like it's right after Void starts attacking and making people disappear, and you've got concrete falling, and it's like right at the very end of that sequence, and Alexei saves the little girl, and he says, "You're safe now," and then just that came out of nowhere for me. I was not expecting it, and what I realized was this was a moment for Alexei to be seen as a hero again because he saved this child, and that was the last time he felt truly happy, was serving. I mean, even though it's a different country now, but serving his country as a hero and being looked at as a hero.
Yeah.
And he's getting this moment of almost redemption of, now he's not a loser. He can be seen as a hero again. And, his dream is to be on a Wheaties box. And, and you see all this hope kind of built, and just in an instant, it gets taken away. And it hit me like a fucking freight train. And I sobbed, like I cried actual physical tears. And I was just not ready for that from a Marvel movie.
After having seen the movie, I mean, you know where the people are being sent. But the first you watch that, she's dead.
Yeah.
She just got killed before your eyes.
I'm just like, they just killed a child on screen in front of me.
I just realized we completely overlooked the real star of the movie here, the guinea pig in the lab. I mean, how have we not discussed this? I mean, just the performance that the guinea pig portrays on the screen gives the same emotional depth, Cam, as the baby does in I Am Here Now. I mean, just so good. Like, so good. I mean, it, like here's Elena, and the guinea pig is just like way up here, I mean, it just... We need a guinea pig.
I will say that was a great moment in the
movie.
How
there's Groot has his show, I Am Groot. We need a shorts with the guinea pig. Just
I am guinea pig.
I am guinea pig. Yeah.
Yeah, and every episode starts off with some Marvel character looking at the guinea pig and being like, "Can you help me get in there?" And then the camera just slowly zooms in on the guinea pig's face, with like playing in the back.
It just zooms into his like one of his eyes, and then we just go through it.
And then it's like space or something. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
True star of the movie there.
Now, just a couple more things I want to touch on here, and then we'll be done because we've skated past an hour here. But one of my favorite scenes in the movie is surprisingly John Walker saving the woman from the falling concrete. Because John Walker, he's the antithesis of Steve Rogers. Where Steve Rogers was a good man who learned to be the perfect soldier, John Walker is the opposite. He's the perfect soldier who's learning to be a good man. And this was his second attempt on screen to truly save people. The first one being in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he has to choose between going after Carly and saving that truck full of people. And he kind of has that moment where he's like spazzing out a little bit, and finally he tries to help. He doesn't succeed, he gets attacked, but he tries. In this one, it's kind of the same thing. He tries to help, and he wouldn't have succeeded if the others hadn't come to help him. And he gets under that concrete, and he's trying to hold it up, and it's very obvious he can't, but he's still trying anyway, because deep down, a good man.
I liked the symbolism of that scene. I did not like how it was executed, though, because in my mind, John Walker should have had that. Like, he has the super soldier serum. We saw him jump up the elevator shaft. Like, we know he's got strength. We know he's got superhuman strength. And I feel like, I don't know, I felt like 3 super soldiers should not have struggled as much as they did moving that big piece of concrete. That was just my opinion, though. I mean, I do love the symbolism, like you said, of him trying to redeem himself and actually save somebody. But yeah, I don't know. It felt cheapened to me because, especially once Red Guardian and Bucky got there too, along with everybody else pushing, like, I feel like the 3 of them together should have had it easily. But that's, I don't know.
Well, I mean, to an extent, I do kind of agree with you. I don't think John Walker could have done it himself.
No, I didn't really mean
You
it
know
like
why
that.
the reason why I like that they didn't do that is because I think if they did with the three of them, we would expect that, right? We'd expect
Right.
that to happen and to be like, oh, okay. I think having them all do it fits the moral of the story that
Yeah.
you need help. You need
Something else
like
I didn't even really
you know,
consider until just now was they just got their asses handed to them by Sentry. They're probably tired. I didn't even. Okay,
yeah,
now
and they're
now I
probably
feel like an
emotional.
asshole.
Yeah.
Well,
That'll be the clip from this episode is that.
And the last thing that I wanted to touch on here, it's nothing really important, but I just wanted to praise the filmmakers for their character design of Void.
Yes.
What a
That was awesome.
incredible character design.
I don't know what creeped me out more about it though, was when he was just like when you could just see his eyes, or like
Yeah.
during the scene where Bob is on top of him just beating him and he smiles and you can see the vague
Mhm.
like outline of his teeth. Oh my god. It was
You know what?
oh
What
I
gave me
loved it,
chills
but
in
it was
the
just
it gave me chills in the theater because I was not familiar at all with Sentry from the comics. And I don't if this was in the TV spots, I don't know because I don't usually watch those. But when the first like people start to disappear into the void, I was like, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah.
And even once we saw him, yeah, I was like, "Dude, this is how are they gonna defeat this guy?" You know.
Right.
And so yeah,
I love that they based the
Before they started.
effect.
Was that?
huh?
Well, I was saying I love that they based the effect, like that shadow effect, off of the after shadows of um, uh, the
Bombs.
the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That is such an interesting detail to me for that.
I agree.
And something that I'm interested in seeing going forward in like especially Spider-Man Brand New Day. I want to see if they mention the events of Thunderbolts in that movie because
Ooh.
all of New York was affected by this. And who do we know lives in New York?
Spooder Man.
Spider-Man,
Also, Daredevil,
Daredevil.
which they've already said no reference will be in that show. So
Yeah,
Well,
that
I'm just
sucks
saying,
with the rights. and
Spider-Man,
stuff.
Daredevil. We know the Punisher is going to be in this movie, so it's in the next movie. So it's possible that he was there in New York when it happened.
Hey,
I'm
Red, what the heck just happened?
Right. I'm almost wondering if Bruce Banner's not in New York, if Professor Hulk's not in New York, and maybe that's what's supposed to turn him back into
Oh,
Savage Hulk
Professor
or
Hulk,
something.
what a guy!
I don't know. I didn't watch She-Hulk. I don't know where Bruce Banner is right now.
don't watch it. It
Don't
did
worry about it.
absolutely nothing.
Bruce Banner is currently trying to forget about She-Hulk.
I like that answer. It's very great.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
So, we're just about at an hour and 20 minutes here, so we'll start to wrap this up. Anybody have any final thoughts on the movie? Anything that we missed? Anything that maybe you wanted to glaze a little bit before the end? What's going on? I'll start with you, Andrew.
That's a lot of pressure. I don't think that fast. If for whatever reason you've had any hesitation to watch this movie, do it. It's on Disney Plus. You won't regret it. Because I love this movie. It was tough because I was thinking the other day between this and Superman, what my favorite comic book movie of the year is, and I love Superman, but I think I expected it to be good because of the trailers and all my anticipation for it. Thunderbolts was such a pleasant surprise that it's my favorite comic book movie of the year, personally. I love the filmmaking. You know, I recently, within the last few months, I've been getting into a lot of A24. So kind of seeing this, I was like, oh, just so good. And the acting all around, the writing, everything's good and executed. I think as, you know, it's very rare they have like a perfect movie, but I think this movie is as good as it can be. And I don't say that as a mid way, but like it's really good. And just the themes that they touched on and everything, like we said earlier, just all around really good, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah.
All right. How about you, Spencer?
I did have a couple things I wanted to bring up. We never really talked about the new Avengers thing, with the asterisk,
Yeah.
that whole point, which I don't know. I thought that was just an interesting sort of gimmick, and we'll see what happens with that as we go forward.
Well, especially knowing that Bucky and Sam are kind of at odds now because of the whole thing. So,
I love the line in the post-credit scene. I forgot to say this when Yelena is talking. This is me with conversations, but Yelena's talking about the space problem, like outer space, and John Walker says, "We have a space problem. We just moved in here."
He's like, "There's tons of we have so much
space.
room," and she's like, "Outer space. And he goes, "Oh."
And then Alexei comes and says, "Do Avengers with a Z." He's like, "We are fine."
I love that he had sponsors.
Yeah.
Like it was like a racing,
a
racing.
That was
thing.
He
had like sponsors on his sleeve and shit. That was so great.
I will say that was a big highlight for me. It's just we don't really ever get post-credit scenes where it's like a full-on scene like that. And actually directed by the Russos, I believe, too.
Yes,
cool.
Yes.
So,
well, even the one with the
set
Wheaties, when he's trying to tease it with the lady, he's like, "You want this?" She like takes it reluctantly and then just like throws it. He sets it down. So funny.
Right. But yes, that was one of the things. The other thing is there's something I wanted to bring up, and we don't have to dive into this really at all. But I was looking, just happened to come across somebody who reports on a bunch of this sort of Marvel stuff. And there's a previous iteration of the script too. And I just want to bring this up where it talked about there's another version of this movie that included Taskmaster actually staying alive, giving Taskmaster relationship with Ghost, US Agent, and Bucky, which have been interesting to see a bunch of their characters kind of all going together. And not saying that those characters didn't necessarily have anything not to do in this movie, but it was definitely very much a Yelena focused movie, so it would have been interesting to see another version where they maybe given the other characters a little more. I mean, personally, I didn't have a problem with it because even though it was very Yelena focused, I did feel like at the end of the day, every character did have a moment to shine, and that's kind of how these team up movies work. It's kind of hard to not have it focus on one character. I feel like in each Guardians movie, they do kind of focus on one character and it that it follows through. So, it's common for that to happen. The other thing is supposedly they were going to give Val a lot more to do as well, where Val was actually supposed to be very hands-on, which is interesting. And supposedly in this cut, we only had like a very small hint that Val would have been a hands-on character where she would have actually had to fight Yelena at one point, which I think that would have been actually very interesting to see. So,
yeah.
But I just want to bring up those as things things always change in the Marvel world and I always find it interesting of like how things could be and seeing how things change and versus the final product. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Personally, for me, I'm glad that they killed off Taskmaster, but also I think seeing Val do more would have been cool. But at the same time, it's like, would that have been be in line with her character as we know her though? As we know, she's not hands-on at all for what we see.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just want to bring that up. But overall, it was a pleasant surprise. Definitely one of the best Marvel movies of recent years, and I think it needs some more love. Since I don't think, I think people have gotten burned out for the most part on Marvel, and I'm going to say rightfully so, just given their track record as of recent. So, like, I don't blame anybody when they say I'm tapped out on Marvel. Because I think it's just that fair thing of every mediocre project. Every now and then you have something genuinely great, but I think that's kind of the big reason as to why Marvel is at where it's at right now. And so, just overall, I'm glad this is something that helps stand out over all the, as they say, mid stuff. And so, yeah,
as the kids say,
oh wait, hold on, you're looking at me and Andrew. Damn it.
Y'all youngins.
Not quite a lot, right? Is that what you're saying?
You know what? Anyway, yeah. So that's all. I think that's all I have to say.
All right, Michael. Any final thoughts?
One thing that we didn't really touch on too much was the relationship between Bucky and John Walker in this movie. Especially given their relationship in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know, there's the scene where it's right after Bucky captures them all. He's got them at the little airstrip or whatever, and they're trying to explain to him about Bob. And John Walker tells Bucky, he's like, Bucky, come on, you know me. He's like, yeah, I do know you. Like, he's just like, yeah, what's your point? And then he gets the call from Mel, and they're like, he's like, Bob, and they're like, Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Great.
That scene was great.
That is such an underrated scene. It was so short, but just really well executed. And I really enjoyed seeing the relationship between Bucky and Walker kind of silently evolved in this movie. Like, it was organic in a way, but it was organic in a way that it didn't feel rushed, but it was a very, like, if you don't really pay attention, you don't notice it kind of thing. It's almost like as soon as he realized they were telling the truth, he looked at Walker in a new light almost, and then it just kind of evolved from there. But it was very blink and you'll miss it kind of. And I love that kind of storytelling because it makes you have to pay attention, and
I can't do that.
I know, right?
I have to have quick cuts and you never see the actor's face,
Well, but that was something I noticed in this movie that I thought they did very, very well. I honestly would not have seen this movie at all if Cam had not recommended it so much from when he went and watched it, opening weekend or whatever. Yeah. He came back in the group chat, was like, best fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. I went, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Well, I guess I have to watch it now. I was not interested in it because I didn't know really anything about it other than, there were going to be some characters in it that I'm aware of,
Well, and if you watched a few episodes back when Cam and I were doing the show, we both created a new rating system for movies. Okay. So at the end of each show, we say we either say, maybe it was good, but not quite Lawrence of Arabia good, or was it Lawrence of Arabia good? Like that. That's our new sort of rating system. So no, this movie isn't quite Lawrence of Arabia. Well, actually, I've never seen Lawrence of Arabia, so I can't really say that actually.
So this is what you say after every time you review a movie here, right?
Yeah. So yeah. So just have some thoughts, So
okay. I did catch that last episode talking about. I was a little confused because I don't always get the chance to catch every episode, so I was like, "What are they talking about, Lawrence of Arabia? What the fuck?"
Yeah. Now, 4 topics that get brought up in every stream now: Lawrence of Arabia, Neil Breen, the Emu War, and Krull.
Yes. We haven't done
which Emu War? The first one or the second one?
Wait, what?
Wait, what? There's only one we know of.
No, there were 2 great Emu Wars. They happened about. They were a few years apart, but.
We're talking about the first one then. The movie. There was a movie made on it.
Damn it.
Oh gosh.
So you're telling me we should get a sequel then?
Oh, all right. You know what? We're gonna start a Kickstarter for the sequel to the Emu War. Somehow the emus returned. And then Steven Seagal, we're gonna get Steven Seagal to star in it. And he's going to show up and he's going to go, I can take these emus. And he's sitting down and he's just doing this and then he's taking the emus out.
I think I've figured it out. Is there a movie called The Emu Wars?
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that. Did you guys know that there are historical events called the Emu Wars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's what it's based on. That's what it's based on.
I didn't know that you guys were talking about a movie. That's why I said, are we talking about the first one or the second one? Because I was talking about the historical events.
Yeah, it is the most accurate part about the movie is the title. So
you're like, yes, this is in fact an Emu War.
There were people involved.
This is definitely one of the movies of all time.
Yes.
Calling it a movie in this instance is very generous.
Very generous.
Actually,
it is definitely one of the
it was shot on
recordings of all time.
It was shot on film, so we have to call it a film, not a movie.
Okay,
I'm just kidding. It was shot on digital, I'm sure. But
that's why it's definitely the recording of It's
Yeah.
definitely a recording of all time.
For sure.
That I can give that movie is that it got made.
I will say
Got
this,
made.
and this is also a new rating metric. I would watch a Neil Breen movie over it. So, like, that's actually my new rating system. I would watch this over a Neil Breen movie. So, like, that's you could call it a good thing depending on how you look at Neil Breen. So
Valentina's trying to control Sentry, and Sentry's like, "This is my universe."
This is my building. And Sentry starts talking about programmable DNA. We are on the verge. Well, no, the Sentry, when Sentry had the realization, he was like, "Isn't that corrupt? Isn't that betraying the people's trust?"
One thing that I didn't really get was,
Valentina
said in the movie, she was like, think of all the battles that have happened here. And I'm like, the only ones I can think of are like Loki and Ultron. And Ultron wasn't really like a legendary battle. It was he kicked their asses and ran away.
Ultron wasn't even there.
Isn't that betraying the people's trust?
Wait, where was I thought Ultron was?
Oh wait, you know what? He was
at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, at the very beginning when he comes out all fucked up.
Oh man.
All right. Anybody have shameless plugs? Andrew, I'm sure I know what yours are.
Yeah, over on the Feast of Phantoms YouTube channel, you can catch me over for 2 shows. First is MCU Monday. We are, I'm not sure quite what episode because I forgot, but we're doing Jessica Jones. We're doing a series review, Jessica Jones. I believe we're on episode 10. No, 11. So that's what it is. Season 1, episode 11. We'll be doing that tomorrow night. Clone Wars. I need a Cantina Happy Hour Thursday nights. We're doing the Clone Wars. I assume it's the final episode of season 1. I wasn't on last week.
How terrible.
That's just corrupt. I was off hacking into international government systems to
he said it on stream, so it must be true.
Yeah. I'm actually an author, and I like to read my own books and write in them too sometimes, even though they're already written in. But anyway, and then there seems to be a common theme. Me
and Michael are very confused right now.
Yeah.
It's a Neil Breen reference.
Okay.
Be glad you don't know it. I wish I didn't know it, but I won't steal Spencer, so I'll leave it at that.
All right. Spencer, what you got?
Oh my god. Saturday, catch us reviewing Peacemaker Season 2 as me and Andrew are going to be talking about the mid-season point through Season 2.
That's crazy.
I know, right? That's the thing about all these short shows. But yeah, we've been talking about Peacemaker. It's been wonderful. You can go check out the episode I did last night with my friend Chris, who filled in for the Slacker. No, I mean,
again, I was hacking into government systems.
But anyway, Andrew will be back on Saturday to talk about more Peacemaker.
Somehow I will return.
Somehow Andrew returns. Also, sometime this week, actually, I'm about to, if everything goes according to plan, I will be recording a new video talking about actually the very comic I'm holding right here, the new issue of Batman issue 1, written by Matt Fraction, where this is a big deal, where this is the first Batman #1 since 2016. And so a bunch of people have been talking about it. A lot of people are actually very happy about this Batman issue, me included. Spoiler alert. But I'm excited to actually talk about this, as it's looks like it's going to start an exciting new Batman era. So,
is that the one that you sent me on Discord?
Yes, it is. You should read it.
I definitely. It's on my to read list. I'm trying to get through Fantastic Four right now. It's a lot. There are a lot of Fantastic Four with Jonathan Hickman.
Yeah. Very important stuff there too.
Yeah.
All right, Michael. Any shameless plugs?
Yeah. I mean, occasionally Spencer and I do some gaming, and I occasionally can stream them if my internet's not too fucked up. You can find me on Twitch at this right here, Return of the Mike Game.
Michael. Okay.
ROTM Gaming. So I'm on Twitch. I have a YouTube channel, the same name, but I don't really post there as much anymore. The last thing I posted was Pow World videos, and I've not played Pow World in like over a year. So
Oh boy, what?
I should
How
tell
much
you.
has that changed?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Anyway, but yeah. So occasionally I stream over there. So we play some Satisfactory, and we do Fortnite, Marvel Rivals.
Any After Dark streams?
I
Oh,
thought
let me
about.
tell you about Dingus After Dark. I'm like a whole new person when it gets out tonight. And Michael's like, Switch, you just shut the fuck up. Sorry.
No, that's more Chris. Chris is the one that tells you to shut the fuck up, not me.
There was one night, I remember, I just said a bunch of stuff, and then I said something kind of mild. And then you went like,
yeah, I was just like, Jesus Christ, I need a break.
That's marketing right there. Now we got to check them out.
Yeah, no, it's we have a good time over there. Especially, I know that like Fortnite and Marvel Rivals is kind of like Spencer and Chris's, like because they have the season passes and stuff. So that I enjoy Satisfactory. That is the one I have the most fun with because we're building stuff. We're making
Would you say it satisfies you?
It is so satisfying. It really is when you manage to balance everything and it's going. If you've never played the game, I can't explain it, but it is just
I'm sold.
If you don't like math, you'll hate the game. Well,
see, there you go.
Yeah.
Look,
there are calculators though to help you.
Yeah.
See, that's still above my knowledge.
1 + 1 = what is that again?
11.
23. Right, got it.
That's right. I love how Cam's
It's 9
looking at us
+
like,
10.
shut up.
21. That's right. I'm bringing it back, baby.
What's next? You're gonna start dabbing again?
Oh.
I don't
God,
know.
again.
All right. Well, that'll do
Got
it.
him.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, fellas, for joining about Thunderbolts. Thank you to everybody who participated in the chat. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff.
Almost at 70.
Yeah, we're almost at 70.
What are you doing for 100, Cam?
I already said that if I can make it to 100 subscribers, I will do an entire stream in character as Neil Breen.
Yes. Wait, but if they realize that you're not Neil Breen, isn't that betraying the public's interest?
I need to go watch whatever the fuck this is now just to get the reference.
You know what's funny? Cam, you'll love this. I was at a gas station earlier, which just may fit him. I swear, I thought I saw the corner of my eye a guy that looked like Neil Breen. For a split second, I was like, is that Neil Breen? Like, what's he doing here? And then I was like, oh, it's not him. And then I realized how corrupted my mind is that like I'm actively looking for Neil Breen. Like if there was a Comic-Con that was like in North Dakota, because that's where he could go, and it was like Neil Breen is going to be here all weekend, I would fly up to North Dakota just to say, and then he's not there, and I realize how corrupt he is.
Well, and my statement still stands. If I can make it to 100 subscribers, I will buy a wig, a Neil Breen wig.
You got to do the I Am Here Now outfit.
Character.
You got to look like him and Pass Through. Clean. It's all clean.
See, that is a face you can trust.
And me and Michael are still confused.
Yeah, I'm just like, I
gotta tell you, if it makes you guys feel any better, this level of confusion that you have is the same you'll have watching any of his movies. Because I've seen some of his movies, and I am still confused at what I watched. So,
all right, well, but yes, next week we will be doing a bad movie. Not 100% sure yet what it's going to be.
Furry Nights.
No, wait a minute. No, we're not. We're doing the John Wick retrospective.
Yes. And then we're gonna do Furry Nights.
I need to watch the rest of the John Wick movies.
Oh, you absolutely should. Yes.
Yeah. Why haven't you?
I've only seen 1.5 of them.
What is wrong with you?
I've only seen the first one, and then I got like halfway through the second one. And what happened was I mistook, like, it seemed like they were pulling a Rocky, where every movie is the fucking same but slightly different. And I was just like, I'm not doing this for 4 fucking movies, man. And then I found out
Dude,
later that
it's
it
worth it, though.
drastically changes after
tell
the
you
second half. In the second half, and I went, well, damn.
The world building is
have
so
problems.
good in these movies, though. Like with action, we've talked about this before. Excuse me. You don't usually watch for the plot. There's no like world building. John Wick is completely different. There's an insane amount of world building that is so good that
Yeah.
it's
I
worth
definitely need to. I definitely need to
I'm
catch up
excited
on it. How many are there now? There's 4, right?
Yes,
And
it. And then there's
I,
Ballerina.
I assume we're not including
Yeah.
Ballerina, right? For this? What?
There's 4 John Wick movies plus Ballerina plus
Right.
the Continental series.
I haven't seen
Screw
Continental
the
yet
series.
because
I've heard it's not good, but
yeah.
does
I
it
just don't
John
want to
Wick-
pay for Peacock to watch it.
Does the next week's stream include Ballerina since he's in it? Spoilers.
No, we'll just do the 4 John Wick films.
Wait,
Get it out.
John
I
Wick's in
will
Ballerina?
I will endeavor to watch all 4 of them this week.
All right.
So I
Good
can
luck.
be here next week.
I watch my favorite of them. What is it? Tune in next week on Cam and Focus, everybody.
There you go.
On that note, I think we can call it here. Thanks, guys, again for joining me. Thanks, everybody.
Watch more movies.
And subscribe. We will see everybody on next week's stream.